get these randomly accessed memories that although she was the central unit to how I process things, she seemed way too happy to send me off with no external logic to a system which broke me. Nursery. There they forced us into little societies and I must have missed a software patch, the rulebook on how to be a kid, because I enjoyed my own company, a sunflower growing towards the sun at its own pace, yet the nursery craved their perfect bouquet, arranged us in petal chairs around the table, forced to focus on milestones that they deemed important. But I didn't fit. So they ignored until my leaves started growing faster than my flower in an attempt to hide behind before learning to bloom. But they saw that as undesirable behavior. And my confidence was cut and I was forced to flower ahead of my time. Gifted, they said. But have you ever seen a sunflower grow, contort into the shadows, conforming to the wall, flowers barely growing through, new leaves nipped at the bud, a hangnail pull right down to the roots? I spent years observing, studying this garden, systemizing the mutually beneficial ecosystem that they created, yet no amount of pattern recognition or out-of-the-box thinking would allow me to become one of them. The best that I can do is use learned behaviors in an attempt to fit in. I mask my yellow petals in Goldilocks to secure a warm sense of false security, knowing full well that I am still different, and that this mask that I paint on will almost always fail when it starts to rain, and I just can't seem to gauge the weather right. I played this character chosen for me to survive this game which always seemed to somehow be rigged in every which way to burden me. From a gifted kid with the world's twinkle in my eye to a dysregulated sap of a man is a crowded pipeline that I share with most undiagnosed autistic adults. Society claims to celebrate individuality but narrow out the confines that they hold it in. Be different, they say, but only the type of difference that we accept. Different like us. Follow the rules, they say, but don't be so rigid. Give or take the rules. I don't get it. Am I supposed to be different or conform, follow the rules or break them? Was this learnt at school as I was learning to survive? And when did it become us versus me? For clarity, I gained some courage to ask these questions to a bored face which I'm guessing reads, chill dude, kawabunga, or kumbaya, or some shit like that. So what's the point in asking questions if it just leaves me more confused and this mask of normalcy starts to slip and is help even help if it doesn't help? I can't help it, just nod and go non-verbal and hope until all hope is lost. And then I'm introduced to chemicals. I get that first sip, that first sip, and then suddenly I start to fit. But back to square one as it starts to wear off. Loneliness steps in to take hangover's place, but my oh my do I reminisce about last night, how I knew what to say, at the right place, at the right time, last night on cloud 9, hi. How are you? That dreaded small talk couldn't get any easier. And what of self-simulation? Have you ever heard of intracranial self-simulation? Guess this, when you're on drugs, it's the hand flapping, finger flicking, rocking, jumping, tumbling, but all just done in your head. So I could use my body parts for normal things like waving it in someone's face or practicing that gesture I saw someone do that received a great reception. I can receive a great reception too. All I have to do is dial this number, receive and take the goods, and then I can join the us. Why be sober when I can be accepted? Why be sober when I can be understood? It's all good until 6 years later I'm being understood in a darkened 7th floor flat, somewhere of the river with a needle sticking out my arm, and I've reverted back to my non-verbal self and I just realised I don't want to be understood anymore. If being understood means becoming a shadow. And suddenly I'm 25 and at 52 kilograms, I'm basically halfway there. Take copious amounts of that miracle I found to find some peace. Release. I wanted to die at 25 because I decided that the world that they wanted me to live in was too difficult. And every interaction since had proved it to be so. If only they'd realised that I stay silent in class. If only they saw that I played alone. If only my parents could see the pain behind the good grades. If only I'd learned to love myself before seeking escape. If only I realised that I was understood. If only I was diagnosed earlier. If only I could unbloom. So instead I turned to pruning, self-soothing in prayers, hymns and hums of a greater plan. As I prune my affairs, get myself in order. Although the pain it hurts me, the feeling of burden is no more. I assure the pruned parts of me that the discarding of them is to make me more me and less them. If that makes me less tangible, then beautiful. Not once have I asked the pruned whether they bleed or sap across from me, flesh and emotion. They try to tap back into my maple honey soul, wanting to graft and grow with me. But I'm not that 7-year-old anymore. Nor am I that 25 who drew his confidence from belonging, accepted and understood in places not made for me. And so a sadness envelops me. Depression, leaves once again overgrown, hiding my unbloomed flower. But this time I let it. I embrace the warmth that hibernation brings. Intrusive thoughts like, have I pruned away too much, shake me. But for this new bloom, how much of myself am I willing to prune? Will I lose essence or identity? Will I wilt, lose branches to my winter, lose branches to my decay? But still, the orange sun is ever coming and my sunflower is ever growing. So I will unbloom, unlearn, learn, and then finally find the joy in blooming again. Thank you.